Welcome to the 2016 SIGCHROME Project Car. Each month, we are taking you behind the scenes of an innovative, handcrafted car build. And for your chance to win this beast, simply purchase any quality SIGCHROME product and enter your details at winwithsigchrome.com.au. This is George, the boss man at Python Vehicles. He's been building Cobras for 30 years and he puts his products to the test on the racetrack, taking on some of the world's best sports cars.
This is going to be one of a kind Cobra.
The man responsible for hand building this SIGCHROME project car is Joe. He's George's trusted mechanic and has a real passion for his craft.
If you can't do it, get out of the way, because I'll do it.
And I'm Telfo, editor of Street Machine magazine. I'm here to document the madness.
Can you do me a favour? Yep. Let me do the work and you go make some phone calls up that end of the shop and leave me alone.
Done. I'm out of here. Done, dude.
G'day, it's Telfo and welcome to episode 5 of the SIGCHROME Cobra build. I'm here with Joe, who has got the car on the ground.
Yep, finally, it's alive.
It's alive, very exciting. Where's the computer? I can't help seeing there's no computer.
Still no computer, still no engine wiring, loom, still everything I need to fire the car up, so that's just holding me up right now. While I'm waiting for that, I'm still moving on everything else. I've done a lot of the plumbing, the radiator piping. Also, I'm doing a lot of the body wiring. So I'm running all the body wiring along the chassis, feeding wires where everything needs to go.
And where do you think the computer's going to go when it does get here?
We have a panel inside here, inside the dashboard, and the computer normally lives in there. So it's out of the weather, it's inside the car, and that's where we normally put them.
And I can't help noticing that the wiper motor is way over there on the chassis rail there.
Yeah, we mount the wiper motor right over here, and it's run by cable operation. So we have our 3 pivot points here. So the cable runs to each pivot and goes back and forth, and wipers work perfectly. It's an old system, but it works really, really well. Once that's done, I will literally strip the car to 1,000 pieces and I'll lay it all out on the floor as if it comes in a box, like a big model set, and I will label everything where everything needs to go. So if I've got a handful of stuff that needs to go, get zinc plated, powder coated, chrome plated, and I'll take photos of everything before I send them away so I know what's gone and where it's gone and when it comes back.
I can't wait to see it in a million pieces because it's going to be mind-blowing. All right, so it's a couple of weeks later. We're back here with George at Python Vehicles Australia, and the car is looking very, very, very close to complete. There's wiring is all done, the hard brake lines are done, and some of the last pieces in the engine bay have been fabricated, and the computer's finally here.
Finally. The computer we had to really wait for because no one could supply us one. It came from Ford Motorsport, and so that was exciting that came. But Telfo, you can see it here, mate. This is actually a car now that if we really wanted to, we could put some fuel in it, put a seat in it, and literally drive around the block.
All right, let's have a look at the computer and how we fitted that in the car.
You can see that the wiring itself, it's quite intricate, but yet so simple because we've got our little fuse box panel that's happening there on the left-hand foot box, and then the ECU computer itself controls the rest of the car, particularly the engine and the fuel system itself. Generally speaking, the wiring is quite simple compared to modern cars of today. Now at the front of the car, the exciting stuff is we've finished the cold induction box, which is a really cool part of the car. It's one of our own designs. We've actually designed a cold air box that picks up cold air from underneath the car, so it literally doesn't get any hot air coming into it, because as you can see, the cold air box is well down there in between the radiator and the chassis rail.
One question I do have is, they're funny looking shock absorbers you got there.
Yeah, good pickup, Telfo. What's happening here is tomorrow she goes on a journey to Enkelmans and Associates to get a torsion and beam test done. That's why we replaced the actual shockers themselves with a hard piece of steel where we don't want the upper and lower control arms to move in any way as they're doing the test.
We're down here at Enkelman Engineering in beautiful Braeside, Victoria. Here, the Cobra has to go through one of its engineering tests to make sure it's legal in every state and territory. So Tom here has set up this very cool test to judge the torsional stiffness of the car to make sure it all complies. Mate, explain to us what's going on here.
So it's a very basic test, very old school. Basically, we fix the car at one end, we attach a great big long beam to the front of it so we can put some weight on the end of it, twist the chassis and measure it with some dial gauges along the wheelbase. And basically it's a pass or fail thing. We measure how stiff the chassis is as a whole, whether the stiffness is pretty consistent along the wheelbase, and if it's all good above a certain value, the vehicle's good to go for an ICE EV.
Then how much weight do we have here?
For this test, based on the weight of this vehicle, we're putting 160 kilos on a 3 metre arm.
Okay, so it's a very precise test. Have we passed?
We have passed. Not really a surprise because we have tested this chassis before in a slightly earlier form, but the legislation has changed a little bit, so we've had to retest it using the new procedure.
And obviously George races around the racetrack at 1,000,000 miles an hour with giant sticky tyres on his race car, which is very, very similar to this.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's over-engineered,
yes,
really.
yes. This chassis is really a development of George's race car chassis with some improvements.
But going forward, if George uses this chassis design again, we don't need to retest.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah. Awesome, well, that's good news. Next step is we'll take the car back to George's place and pull it down into 1,000,000 pieces.